tell us a little bit about your corporate journey, how it all began, right from your early years in TAS. How has been the corporate journey?
It's not just a corporate journey, it's an evolution in life actually, as it were. I think jobs provided the backdrop, jobs provided a lot of the context, jobs provided a lot of the learning as well. But ultimately, I think everybody, leads their life in a certain way. And I think that is really what is more important behind the journey, as it were. Because, there's so many other things to life as well. And it's important to factor all of those things and take all of those things into account as well. So just in terms of, however, the work part of my life, I started in the Tata Administrative Service. That was my first job after IIM. And then I was there for a couple of years. And after a couple of years, I decided that I wanted to get more exposure, particularly outside of India. So I went and studied at Columbia University, did a master's there in finance. And then after I finished that, I was lucky to get a job in Citibank. In the international corporate finance area. So I started working there, and then I basically, like every Indian who'd gone overseas at that time period, became somebody who was working in the US, living in the US, happy to sort of, have a career and a family there. But I had this nagging thought in my mind that I wanted to come back to India. And that thought was something that became stronger over time. And after about 10 years, 11 years of working in investment banking, in which for some time I was in London as well, I came across a very interesting opportunity back in India. And it just happened by chance. It wasn't something that I was actively looking for. And that was an opportunity to work with Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla in the Aditya Birla Group as his head of finance, which for me, at a relatively young age, to come into a group like that at a fairly senior position was a fairly unique opportunity. And so in 2002, I packed my bags and I returned back to India. I must say that I would not have returned back had it not been for the opportunity. So it wasn't that I wanted to come back to India at all costs. It was because the opportunity that I got was a very interesting one, a very different one. And that's why I chose the journey to basically come back to India. And then I was in the Birla Group for about 6.5 years. Understood a lot of things about how corporates create value, how businesses are run, people management issues, general management, whole host of different things. And more importantly also an understanding of how India worked and the entire ecosystem, because I was living in Mumbai at that time and got to meet a lot of folks in the consulting, private equity, corporate, legal, banking professions. So it really rounded me off in terms of a very broad exposure into the Indian context. And then after that, out of the blue, I got a call from a company called Suzlon. And that made me reflect a little bit about what I was doing. And Suzlon, as you would know, operates in the renewable energy space. It manufactures wind turbines. And it seemed to me that the whole area of climate change would become very big in the future. And this is about 10 years ago when I was considering this opportunity. I was still relatively young. Obviously I was 10 years younger than I am right now. So I was in my very early 40s at that point in time. So, the world still stretched ahead of me at that point in time. And I thought that climate change or the area of clean energy would be an interesting area to divert one's career into and then spend the next couple of decades in that space. And I didn't really have a broader thought process than that. And of course the company was interesting, the job was interesting, and so I decided to leave the Birla Group and join Suzlon. And then while I was at Suzlon, I was there for 2 years. It was a very deep learning experience for me because a lot of things are happening both globally and in the company at that point in time. So lots of ups and downs, lots of volatility. And those are the kinds of environments actually in which you're under a lot of pressure, but you also therefore learn a lot. So I learned about how wind turbines run, the technical aspects, how they're installed, what is happening globally. A lot of very deep insights came to me at that point in time. And 2 years after having been at Suzlon, actually just a little bit less than 2 years I was there, I decided to basically go off on my own. And so just like the thought of coming to India had been nagging me for some time before I actually came back, the thought of trying to start something on my own had also been nagging me for some time. And just around that time, I saw that there was an opportunity to set up a business in the renewable energy IPP space. And I also felt that there were enough people, private equity investors, to provide capital to professionals like me who wanted to go off and start new businesses. And so I took a big bet actually that I could raise the capital and that I could make a go of creating a good business. And that's what caused me to leave Suzlon, start this business. And then this is what I've been doing for the last now almost 7 years.